This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
The other opponent that comes across the results list here that we've never talked about is Bob Roop. And this is sort of random. All your matches so far in Georgia Championship Wrestling have been you and Matt Borne. But on June 4th, you're going to be in Augusta, Georgia. It's Pez and Ray Candy on one side, you and Bob Roop on the other. Is this when everything changed with Matt Borne, just like that?
That feels like to me, and I know Ole and Bob Roop were friends, and Ole respected him. That feels like Matt has been let go.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding his departure. I guess it's not all that uncommon when you talk about a guy who is polarizing as Matt, but he is seemingly going to be finishing up. Best I can tell, your last match with him was on June 1st, 1983 in Toledo, Ohio. And you guys get a win over Pez and Ray Candy. But just 3 days later, you have a new tag team partner. And the day after that, you're in the Omni wrestling as a singles. And you're going to be in singles for a while here. You will occasionally have a hodgepodge tag team partner. But this feels like, since you sort of teased the Road Warrior thing at the top of the show, the Road Warriors are in the next month. So this has got to be when sort of for lack of a better word, the heat came down on Matt Borne. Fair to say?
Well, there was a process with Matt, and let's go back and capture this. Number one, Matt, the more settled in he got with the company, the more of an asshole Matt became.
Okay.
And the best fist fight that there's probably ever been in the history of the business was Brian Blair and Matt Borne. I think it was Charleston, West Virginia, in the hotel bar. And I was a witness along with Ivan Koloff and I think Flair, and most of the boys were there. And it started over Matt accusing Brian hitting on the girl that Matt was trying to hit on, which was probably all bullshit. But it started out in the bar, and it was a hell of a fight. It got broke up. It spilled out into the lobby, and it started up again. And I'm talking about, I don't know if you've ever been in a fist fight, Conrad, but yeah. 90 seconds is a long time.
Yes.
It got broke up again, and it went out the front sliding doors into the parking lot, and they started up again. And Matt went in started to put his thumb into Blair's eye, and Ivan Koloff kicked his hand out of his eye. Kicked it away, if that makes any sense, where he couldn't pull his eye out. No eyes. Now, at this point, we're at about the 12, 14-minute mark of a start-stop, three-tiered fight. It's unfathomable if you've ever been into a real fight.
Right.
So all of a sudden, they go head-to-head, almost nose-to-nose, and Brian Blair bit a big chunk out of Matt Borne's lip, about yay wide and all the way through, and spit it out, which stopped the fight. I mean, it looked like a friggin' alligator bit him or something. Got it broke up. It's one of the damnedest fights you ever had, but it immediately split the locker room. When you have a fight like that, it's like guys immediately start taking sides, and it's not a good thing. It's never been a good thing. I hate it. So that was the first real iceberg that Matt hit. We get a little further. Matt goes into the bar, the hotel bar. Paul Ellering and I were in the room, and we always, all three of us, healed a room, save some money. And I'm laying in the bed asleep, and all of a sudden, it's dark in the room. I can feel the bed like sloshing back and forth And I reach over and cut on the light, and Matt is standing on the bed, naked, going something along the lines of, "You punk, you didn't deserve this fucking spot. No way should you be my partner, and I wish I could piss on you." Now, Paul Ellering is in the room. I may have the verbiage a little bit off, but I got the fact that he's trying to piss on me.
Yeah.
So we get in a fight, which I'll just not me trying to be sound tough. Well, I'm the last thing from being tough, but I ended up on top of Matt with him face down, 2 handfuls of that hair banging his head off the floor. Matt quit. So I hated having to do it, but during this whole fight, it's got pretty loud in the room. Larry Zbyszko's down there by then. Apparently, he had already known Matt was a prick. So I let him up. He had had enough. Larry said, "Arn, grab your bag. You come down. I got 2 beds in my room." So I went down, stayed with him. The next day, I called our room. I said, "Is it safe to come down there?" And Matt acted like it never happened. So this is telling me the drugs and the alcohol's got him. For him not to remember that or think that was somehow okay, I don't know. But these things all led up to the situation with the girl and him getting fired. It's just, I was trying to give you like a timeline of when I saw things falling apart.
Brian Blair, of course, was an opponent, a regular opponent of you guys. I mean, his next to last match for the company, teaming with you at least, was with Brett Wayne and Brian Blair on the other side. So I guess it all settled down and cooler heads prevailed, and they were able to work together again.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you had to. You were booked, and if it became something that now spilled over into your business, somebody would have probably got let go there.
Yeah,
but the boys have gotten in tussles over the hotel didn't complain, the cops didn't come. If any of that would have happened, it would have been a different story. But it stayed self-contained amongst the guys. So they were able to finish out their bookings.
Since you sort of said the girl, I guess we should address it. Matt Borne ultimately runs afoul with the law where allegedly he had a girlfriend who was not of legal age, shall we say, and that spelled the end of him here for Georgia Championship Wrestling. Do you remember how you get the news that, okay, he's out and here's what we're doing for you? Tell us how that conversation goes.
Well, it was the shits because we get back to Atlanta and Ole calls me in and he goes, "Hey, asshole Matt really fucked you." That's what he said. He said, "I had the tag slot for you, but that doesn't work now. I'm going to have to make some changes. I can still use you. I'm probably going to have to turn you babyface, but that spot is gone." So what am I going to say? Again, now I'm living at home. I'm living at my granny's. I'm actually able to help her out quite a bit with all of her expenses and get her some money in the bank and stuff like that. So I was going to ride that out until I should have right then said, let me see about getting booked somewhere else. But the situation.
Why do you say that?
Well, because for my career, it would have been the best thing right then. Turning me babyface was a mistake because it was just going to be to run around to all the towns and just put the Road Warriors over. And they had brought Rick Rude in. He was their partner for a minute. They had Joe Lightfoot, myself, Barry Darsow, Demolition, as Man Mountain Darsow. We worked around some 6-mans for about a 10-day loop. And it was basically just to get those other guys over. I should have never been turned babyface. I should have just took off right then. When our team shattered, we should have when Matt got gone, I should have just fell off the planet and went somewhere else. Looking back in retrospect. but I got every day of it. I was able to spend that downtime with my grandmother, which worked out fine. And I went ahead and just rode the wave and, for another month or whatever it was.
So really, in hindsight, you only tagged with Matt for what, 2 months?
Yeah, probably.
You lost one match, undefeated otherwise, with the exception of a DQ, but a clean loss once, as we said, to Tommy Rich in the Omni. No shame there. And then saw one of the damnedest fights you ever saw and nearly got pissed on and participated in a fight yourself. I don't mean to speak ill of the dead. I think we're trying to do a service here. Matt was troubled, was he not?
Well, he was such a good worker. Yeah. I mean, I saw that with Watts. Him and Teddy made an incredible team. And then I watched him in our matches, and he was a credible worker. But let's face it, Matt, had a drug problem. And he had an alcohol problem. And, Matt was just get reckless. At the time he wasn't married. He had a girlfriend, I think, but back in Portland, but he wasn't married, no kids that I know of. And he used the business as a playground. I look back on it, going out every single night and drinking to excess and drugs to excess and the whole thing. I was still trying to learn the business, and I'm not trying to come across as a goody two shoes. I drank my share of cocktails too, but it never superseded what I was trying to do and to become an integral part of the industry. I was trying to up my worth, up my game, and excel at this. And we just had two different agendas, and Matt was on a self-destruction course when I look back at it from day one.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.